The winter on Delvara 4 was not meant for human lungs. The thin air rasped like knives, and every breath carried the smell of burning frost. Colonists had long abandoned this quadrant, leaving ruins behind, and only the desperate remained: refugees, scavengers, and those with nowhere else to go. Ethan was one of the few humans foolish enough to patrol the border towns. As part of a humanitarian crew, he distributed rations, blankets, and small heat cells wherever survivors could be found. But he had not expected to find a family in the gutted shell of a house on the outskirts of Corvallen. The sound reached him first, a low, guttural cry, half hidden in the wind. He traced it through broken alleys until his flashlight beams swept across them: an alien woman, her skin pale blue and frostbitten around the edges, crouched protectively over a smaller figure. Her daughter. The girl couldn't have been more than 12, her eyes too large for her face, her lips trembling from cold. They had wrapped themselves in little more than shredded cloth. Ethan's hand tightened around the blanket roll strapped to his pack. When the woman saw him, she staggered forward on unsteady legs and bowed her head low, voice hoarse and raw. "Please, just one night," she rasped in broken common. "Me just one night. For the blanket. My child must live." Ethan froze. The meaning of her words cut him like ice. She was offering herself, her dignity, her body, so her daughter could survive one more night. The girl's wide eyes flickered between her mother and the stranger in armor. He crouched, forcing his voice steady. "No, you don't have to do that. I'm not here for that." He pulled a thermal blanket from his pack and wrapped it around the child's trembling shoulders. The material flared to life, warming instantly. The girl gasped, clutching it as though afraid it might vanish. The woman blinked, confused. "But trade?" Ethan shook his head firmly. "No trade. You both come with me. It's too cold here. You won't survive the night." Her mouth opened, then closed, disbelief etched across her gaunt features. "Humans do not take strangers. Not like us." "Maybe not all humans," Ethan said quietly, "but I'm not leaving you here." He helped the girl to her feet first. She leaned into him instinctively, her tiny body shivering against his side. The mother hesitated, her pride warring with exhaustion. Finally, her knees buckled, and Ethan caught her before she hit the ground. "Easy," he murmured. "You're safe now." The trek back was brutal. Snow lashed across the wastes, and Ethan carried the mother on his back, while the girl clutched his coat. More than once he felt her small hand tighten whenever the wind howled, as if she feared he would vanish into the storm. By the time they reached the humanitarian outpost, his lungs burned and his muscles screamed. But when the heat of the generator washed over them, the girl gave a weak sob of relief, burying her face into his sleeve. Inside, medics rushed forward. The mother, too weak to protest, was lowered onto a cot. He heard her murmur, "No trade," he said, "no trade," as if repeating it to make herself believe. The girl refused to let go of him until one of the nurses coaxed her with warm broth. Ethan sat nearby, watching her eat as though she hadn't seen food in days. That night, after the bustle died down, Ethan returned to check on them. The mother stirred, her eyes fluttering open. "You should not have taken us," she whispered. Her voice was steadier now, but heavy with shame. "I had nothing to give. Only myself. You should have left us." Ethan sat on the edge of the cot, meeting her gaze. "I don't rescue people because of what they can give me. You're not a bargain. Your life's worth saving." Her throat worked, as if she had no words left to answer. Finally, tears welled in her eyes, tears she had likely forbidden herself for months. "My name, Sarah," she murmured. "My daughter, Leora." "Ethan," he replied softly. You don't owe me anything, Sarah. Not you, not her. Over the next days, as rations were distributed and health checks administered, Ethan found himself drawn back to their corner of the infirmary. Leora began to smile more, timid at first, then brighter. She showed him the small charms she had carved from scrap metal, tiny shapes of birds, animals, even a crude human figure she pressed shyly into his hand. Sarah remained quiet, watchful, but there was a shift in her eyes whenever she looked at him. Not gratitude in the transactional sense she had expected, but something warmer, softer, almost unbelieving. One evening, when Ethan brought extra stew, Sarah touched his wrist lightly. You should not waste kindness on us, she said. We are refugees. No home, no clan. Strays. Ethan shook his head. No one's a stray. Not while someone cares enough to bring them in. Her lips trembled, and she turned away quickly. But he caught the glint of tears before she hid them. The blizzards eased weeks later, and new transports arrived to carry survivors to safer colonies. Ethan stood with Sarah and Leora by the gates, watching the crowd press forward. You'll be safe where you're going, he told them, forcing cheer into his voice. There'll be shelter, schools for Leora, no more freezing nights. Leora clung to his sleeve again. You're not coming? She asked, panic edging her voice. He crouched to meet her eyes. I have to stay. There are others who need help too. Her lower lip wobbled, and she flung her arms around his neck. Don't leave us. Sarah's voice was low, strained. She is right. We cannot repay you, Ethan. But if you walk away now, it will break her. Perhaps me too. Ethan hesitated, the transport engines rumbling in the distance. His duty screamed one thing, but his heart tugged another direction. He looked at the girl, clinging to him as if he were the only stable ground left, and at her mother, who had once tried to give herself away for a blanket but now stood with fragile hope in her eyes. He took a slow breath. Then maybe, I go with you. Sarah blinked, stunned. You would leave your post? For us. Ethan smiled faintly. Maybe I've been looking for a reason to stop wandering. Leora squealed in relief, and even Sarah's face cracked into the first genuine smile he had seen from her. As the transport doors closed behind them, warmth filled Ethan's chest, not from heaters or blankets, but from the quiet truth he had carried since that night in the ruins. Some lives weren't meant to be bargained for. They were meant to be protected, cherished, and held close. And now, he had found two he would never let go.